Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Stories by Adetunde Dada. My name is Tunde, and today we have a very special guest. Now, this guest is not only a 2019 Forbes 30 under 30 finalist. She's not only a consultant for the governing body of football, aka FIFA. She is not only a member of the CAF's Women's Football Committee. Again, the CAF Women's Football Committee. And for you guys that don't know, CAF stands for stands for Confederation of African Football. Ladies and gentlemen, today we will be speaking with Ugandan professional football player Jean Sseninde. She's not only a strong advocate for women's football in Uganda, but she's one across the world. So, Jean, if you are here, please request to join this live. For the 2 or 3 people in the back that do not know who you are, please introduce yourself.
Right. My name is Jean Sseninde. I'm a footballer. I'm also a women's football consultant, but I'm part of the CAF Women's Football Committee, and I have our own foundation, Sseninde Foundation, which aims to inspire young girls across all the world to play football and to continue growing through non-formal skills training. So that's a little bit of what I do. Yeah.
Oh, sure. So, question. So, at an early age, I know that you initially wanted to become a pharmacist. And so, I was wondering, how did football come in and out-compete that dream of originally becoming a pharmacist?
Wow, I'm quite surprised that you know all that. I can see you've done your research really well. I don't know. Probably I wanted to be a pharmacist because every young girl or boy around always dreams of being something they don't really understand. So I guess that's what I wanted to be because I didn't really know what the world is all about. But after living in the world and getting to know different stuff and getting involved in different things, I developed a passion for football as a little girl after seeing my brothers at home playing it all the time. And they never used to let me join in because, of course, I was a girl. But I think the more they pushed me away, the more I developed the passion to watch the game, to play the game, and not having opportunities to play as a little girl pushed me that when I got the chance to play, I pushed it to continue happening all the time.
And so, from what I know, that when you were in primary school, you never really had the chance to play football. There wasn't really a structure in place, right?
Yeah.
And so I believe this is one of the reasons why you actually created the Sseninde Foundation. Mm-hmm. And so with the foundation itself, staying on the foundation. And so just for everyone that doesn't know what the foundation is, I believe it's a nonprofit organization that empowers girls and women through football, especially in Uganda.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so apparently during all of that, your dad surprised you at some point with a whole team during your one-shot story project. How did that happen?
As little girls in school, after seeing how big football can make somebody, I wanted to chase that dream, and because I was still in school at that point, my mom didn't really want me to venture in that. And she's like, oh, you have to take up school first and all that. And rightly so, then I didn't understand. But sometimes dads are kind of chilled out and supportive and not as pushy as mothers can be sometimes. So my dad then supported me so much, and he always pushed me to play. I mean, my man is on board now after seeing how big it could become. And yes, I continued with my studies then because it's helped me be the person that I am now. But for me, it's always not been easy having my dad support me, and now taking the foundation, starting the foundation in Uganda. But for me, it's because that's where my roots are, because I keep thinking that if I had had the chance to learn the technical skills at the age of 8, or maybe at the age when I was still in primary school, probably I would be among the best players right now. But obviously I'm not, because it follows you when you grow up, because when you're young at the age of 8, you tend to learn so much, and that's the best age when parents need to support their kids. And I never got that in school. So that's why now I advocate so much for young girls across the world to continue playing. And for me, having my dad now come on board to support my dream, and every time I go back home, he's surprising me with different things, and my mom too as well. So I think that day I had gone home, and he had pushed me to go visit one of the villages that he lives in, and he's a chairman there. So I went normally, and all of a sudden I see all these girls dressed up smartly and ready to welcome me by the road. It was incredible. I mean, I had never seen anything like it, and all the big women. And for me, it's so inspiring, and that keeps me going, because I can see that so many young girls are looking for those opportunities, just like I did when I was little, and they don't have the chances. So I hope that with the foundation, we don't only venture in Uganda. I think last year we invited Tanzania to take part in one of our tournaments, and it's a slow progress. And for me, I hope that we continue helping young girls all over the world. And yeah, I think for me, the surprises are always like the icing on the cake, but we want to focus on the goal.
Sure. And so, staying on the topic of the team, right? Let's talk about the members. You always, or via your website, you always refer to people on the team as silent stars. Mm-hmm. And so I really wanted to know what you mean by that, silent stars.
Yeah, there are so many people who win gold medals around the world, people who are always the ones that take the limelight. But there are so many other people in the background that make all these steps happen. So for me, I never take success as an individual thing. It's always part of a whole big team, people who stay with you, people who believe in you, your family, your friends, people who are always on that journey with you when other people just go off. So for me, those are the silent stars, because without them, you would never, ever be anything. And for me, those are the people that matter most. I feel like that's something that I want to be, but I mean, I'm still young. I want to do so many things at the point. So I'm always like, I just want to inspire people to do things. And however way you can help somebody, it may not be directly, or you may not be the one taking the limelight, but just helping that person be in the limelight, you're also in the limelight, because it's always a team effort.
I like that. You're always in the limelight because it's always a team effort, right? And so, staying on, I guess, Silent Star's website, your website is literally called Speak Up. and so when I noticed that, I was like, wow. And obviously, your whole essence is all about speaking up, right?
Yeah.
And on the website, you have a particular post titled "My Theory of Life." and so I just wanted to know, because you said, why do we ask and wait for others to create positive change in the world when we have the power to create and change it ourselves. And so, can you talk more about what inspired this theory of life?
Well, sometimes I write things according to what I feel, and for me, naming that website Speak Up is because I feel like in Africa, women speaking up is not the norm. People are supposed to be humble, and when you're humble, you're classed as disciplined, and if you speak up, you're not the nice person. So, when you stay silent, you can't change anything. When I opened that website, my aim was to kind of like keep writing something every week, but then I realized that I write from inspiration. So sometimes I end up taking so long to write. Sometimes I find myself that maybe I'm not inspired, but when I do, I write from the heart, and I want everything that's there to be authentic. And writing that for me, it's more that, okay, I've not told anybody this, so that's why it's kind of weird. But for me, having the foundation or doing all the things that I do on a team level, it's because when you have a job and you have bosses, they always tell you do this, do that, and you never get a chance to do anything that you want because you're always working to please them, and that happens with organizations as well, or let's say if you're working for a school or for a business, you're always under that shadow and you have to represent them. So for me, having an opportunity to do something the way that I want the world to be. So for me, having the foundation or writing the theory of life, it's because I feel like if I have the opportunity to do something without anybody telling me do this, do that, it's somehow changing the world, because I aim to do things that I hope that I was in the world when this thing is happening. So probably that's the intention behind it.
One line or one word in general sticks out in the whole theory of life, and that is power, right? As you said, we have the power to create and change the world ourselves. Now, one major thing that gives that power is education.
Yeah.
Right. And that's actually one of the reasons why last year you launched the hashtag creating for women campaign, I believe. Yeah, and actually on your website you said this campaign is more than just a campaign to me. And it has a personal meaning behind it. So Jean, I was wondering, what is that personal meaning?
Well, let me try to give the best explanation I can with that. For me, creating for women or the education campaign is more, of course, it's lining with my experiences with life. I think, like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to drop everything when I was younger to venture into football. But then I look back and I'm like, if I hadn't ventured into football, maybe I wouldn't have the opportunities that I have, because education pushes you that one step further, and you're unique from other people, because sometimes I'm doing a lot of things and people are like, how do you balance your calendar, or how are you doing all those things at the same time? But it's because we don't have to limit ourselves with anything we do, and all that is with education. You learn how to balance your time, you learn how to manage different things, and for me, that's what every young girl in this world should be and should aspire to do. Nobody should stop you from doing anything. And also with my experience, I think when I decided to leave Uganda to move into the UK, I had to choose between my university and also playing football. And of course, I chose football because then there were not so many opportunities. But later on, of course, I knew that I chose football because the opportunity came then, but I can always get the opportunity to continue my university, And of course, I did. I continued doing my human resource management and psychology degree. And for me, that I think pushed me to also do that campaign, because I'm thinking, yes, I chose the football, but I always put it at the back of my mind that education is key. And it's always important for me to continue with my university and have something to lie back on if football never worked out.
Mm-mm. So if we put football and education on a scale, will they balance out or would one of them take over?
I feel like they balance out because football teaches you different things, but also education teaches you how to do the football right. You know, when you're with your teammates, you need the etiquettes, you need to, to know how to interact with them. Somehow now I need to learn how to manage my time in terms of playing football and also planning for my future out of football. So I think both of them balance out. Of course, you need to give time to all of them. I mean, you can see that if you're playing football full time, you don't get time to do so many things. You have to create the time, and sometimes when I'm free, I'm not literally free because I'm planning for the next thing to do, which is weird. But sometimes when you get those small victories, it's all worth it in the end.
Mm-hmm. And so, what are some of those? I know I already mentioned them. What are some of those small victories?
I mean, for me this year, when I got appointed on the CAF Women's Football Committee, I would say it's an achievement because it gives me a bigger platform to continue inspiring young girls, not just in Uganda, but in Africa, the whole of Africa, and also the whole of the world. And for me, going more at the top, it's not about being at the top, but it's about using my voice on a platform where people can be able to listen and to hear and to continue. I want to do things whereby people can learn something and do that as well. So I think for me, that's the goal.
Mm-hmm. I like what you said. You said using your voice as a platform, right? And so we're going back now. Apparently, at age 20, you wrote down a speech in your notebook and said that one day I will read this speech in front of a lot of people. Yeah. Fast forward to last year, you are reading this speech at the first ever FIFA Women's Football Convention. So I'm like, and so I have to ask, when you went to that event and read the speech, how did you feel afterwards? Were you like, I can do anything? Like were you at the top of the world? Were you just going crazy? Mm-hmm. How did you feel then?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, you're bringing back a lot of memories for me, but somehow, like a lot of things that I do or that I want to do, it's like you have a vision of something. And when I wrote that, it's because I visioned myself doing it one day. And it's just a matter of maybe staying patient or, just believing really and praying and maybe a bit of luck as well. So for me, when that moment happened or the moment when I got to speak to people, I was like, wow, so dreams do actually happen and dreams can come true. So you just need to keep believing and working hard and praying. And for me, I feel like everything that I do, it's for one young girl out there to believe that, okay, one day I will be in here and one day I'm going to be even better than what she's done. For me, that's what I hope that young girls out there, they can believe that they can do all these things one day.
So, like, what was the exact, like, did you go out and celebrate after? Did you,
No, I don't think I really celebrated. I mean, I think me with my family, we always talk and we are happy for each other. And the whole team, the Sseninde Foundation and my close friends and everybody else who is a well-wisher, all the fans. And but for me, the victories will be there when I see one day that young girls have benefited from my actions or when young girls have continued getting inspired or doing the actions of making this world a better place, because we still have a big responsibility to continue preaching for every young girl, or not even just girls, but even men, young boys out there. Everybody who needs or deserves their opportunities should have them, be it a disabled or somebody who is in a poor family. Everybody deserves equal opportunities to do something. And I feel like my goal will end when that ever happens.
So will that goal ever end?
No, no, that goal will never end, because I've realized that everything is kind of continuous and it's going round in circles. So you do this and then the next thing has to happen. So I don't think it's ever gonna end. No.
And one thing I really love about you is your no limits mindset. Like literally, like you said before, you'll never put a limit on the things that you can achieve. And like that is like one of the things that I believe everyone should have. Now, things that with that particular mindset, is that something you have to be born with, or can you develop it over time?
I don't know. I have a feeling that you kind of develop it with your experiences in life, really, because I'm human as well, and sometimes I do feel the pressure of, oh, you're doing this, or maybe you hear somebody saying this, or you hear maybe people who don't support you sometimes, and you do feel the pressure, or you feel like, oh, am I doing the right thing? And you question. But I always follow my heart, and as long as my heart tells me I'm doing something right, then I know that I should continue. And now that I've learned that you will have fans, but even Cristiano or Messi has people have people who don't support them. So you just have to stay a course. And for me, I think right now I've been kind of doing different things, maybe the foundation or the consultancy, or some work with CAF, and sometimes I feel like maybe in the football, and sometimes I'm thinking, oh, maybe if people asking, how do you get the time to do all that, or why are you doing all that, and sometimes I'm like, okay, am I doing the right thing? But then I'm like, yes, I'm doing the right thing, and I'm happy. I feel like I'm balancing my time well. I feel like everything I'm doing, I'm happy, and I feel like all young girls can do this, and I want to prove myself wrong, that yes, you can do it. Everybody else can do it if they want to do it. That's why I say that if somebody is limiting your mind, chase them out of your life, because nobody should ever limit anybody from what they can do.
And so, because I know, obviously, like you have your coaching license, you're an active footballer. What else? You're on the CAF Women's Committee. Newly, I believe you're Sudan's football consultant, a bunch of other things. So I'm like, wow. Do you have any time for yourself? Just like.
That's a good question. Maybe not. Sometimes I do force it on myself. But I mean, it's a blessing for anybody to be busy, because at some points when probably I wasn't having a football contract, or I don't have, or I'm not doing this, I feel bored, or I feel like I'm not purposeful. I feel useless. So when I have all these things to do, I feel busy, I feel useful, and it's a blessing to be busy, and all of us should embrace that. And for me, I don't think I'll change it any other way, because it's giving me a lot of life lessons. And I hope that even if in the whole world, I don't know how many people are in this world, even if one girl's life is changed according to my actions, for me, that will be a big dream come true.
And I believe at your core, that is like you. If one girl's life is changed, you've done your job.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing is that one major thing that has helped you do this is sacrifice.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, the reason why I asked the other questions, because, again, you have a quote that says, I want to see the younger girls who dream of achieving more in this sport reach greater heights, even if that means costing me my playing career. And so I was like, I love how you're willing to sacrifice, because I know, like you said before, when you were 17, you sacrificed and went from Uganda to the UK in pursuit of your football dream. And even currently, right now, I believe you being part of a common goal, you're sacrificing a percentage of your salary to the greater good. And so, personally, I really wanted to know, what's the role of sacrifice in achieving one's goals?
It's hard to put it into words because it involves a lot. It involves a lot, because you miss family, you miss friends, you miss you miss a lot of things. Sometimes I was asking myself, maybe I could be in my bed sleeping, or I could enjoy saving for to build a big mansion or something. But it's I keep asking myself, what's the point of one day dying and you build a big mansion and you just left it there? So I'm like, I would rather change people's hearts, or I would rather leave an impact in people's lives, because that will never change. That will never go away. But all the material things that we endeavor or we fight to get, they'll always go away. So I think for me, that's my motivation. And I don't call it a sacrifice, even if, that's what it's called, but it's kind of like an investment in somebody's life or somebody's heart or something, whatever it could be.
Mm-hmm. And I love that investment. I guess it's not sacrifice, it's investment. And of course, when you put in an investment, you always get a return. And so, and and I believe,
I
like,
see it now. All the returns are more like icing on the cake. But once in a while, it's good to see those small victories, because they give you the motivation to keep going, and then it's an indication that you're doing the right thing. So yeah.
And so one of the small victories I believe that you're really striving for or talking about is equality between, like, in women's football, like especially maybe in payment between men's football and women's football. Why do you think there's such a disparity between the salaries of a male football player and a female football player?
It all goes back to women's football. It's taken so long for people to believe in women's football, and men's football had already kicked off. So there is no way all of a sudden they're all going to be equal just like that. So realistically, it's going to take years, and also maybe it could happen or maybe it may never happen, because even if we are trying to chase it, men's football is not stagnant, it's also continuing. So it's more like I think improving the facilities, or improving the salaries, or improving the conditions under which women's football play, so that it can give more hope for girls, or it can allow girls to dream on and know that, okay, one day I can be a professional footballer and under good conditions. So I think it will happen, or it may never happen, but we have to continue pushing for better, for better, for better.
And so, I believe that one day it will happen. and things that, so I guess when you're working with the foundation, you're doing the your development cup. I believe that's obviously your motivation, and you've already answered it already. But like, when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
I just want all young girls to have the chance to play football, but also sport in general. I want parents to continue supporting their little children to, to always venture into what they want, and everyone to have that opportunity. There has been a Black Lives Matter campaign, but what if the disabled also went and did their campaign? Or what if the people who are struggling also did their campaign? What if people who are poor at home went and did their campaign? That their lives matter. So everybody, what I mean with that is we should endeavor to see that everyone has equal opportunity or the chance to achieve what they want to achieve, because not everyone will have the chance to speak up, but we should help one another. We should work as a team so that one day that everybody who can speak up, they will not have to speak up to be able to get what they want.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think some other people or some people in higher positions are not speaking up as I feel maybe they're supposed to?
Sometimes when you get into the bigger positions, I think, like I said earlier, you have to follow a certain standard or standards of the organization, or maybe you're thinking of what people are going to think. So it's not easy to be a leader, especially in a top organization. I want to think of an example. Let's say president. You have to think of, you're not only thinking of yourself, but you're thinking of so many other people. And sometimes people are scared of losing their positions, or they're scared of what people may think about them, because when you're on that platform, everybody knows who you are. So it's not easy to just wake up and do something. But for me, I feel that's the right time to stand up for something. That's the right time to do the right thing. So if a leader has a platform, everybody who is advocating for something wants a platform to be able to advocate for what they believe in. And I hope that the leaders don't get scared of doing that, Just express yourself according to your leadership. Your opportunity is there, and just enjoy it and do what you believe in, as long as you're not hurting other people.
Mm-hmm. You gave an example of the president, and actually made me remember that at some point, the president of Uganda was a guest of honor when for the Sseninde Foundation at some point, I believe, right?
Well,
was the guest of the cup or the foundation? I can't remember, but he
the
was
vice president. Yeah, for that.
The vice president.
Yeah.
And so when you saw him support, I'm pretty sure you were really like, what was your feeling when he came on board and actually physically showed up to support women's football?
It always means a lot, because people in positions of power have a lot of influence. And every time I think of a guest or somebody that I want to call out, it's because I see that they could be that influence. And if people see that, the vice president is supporting women's football, maybe their parents would support their kids a little bit more to play football. So for me, that's the intention behind it. The vice president coming on that event meant everything, because then the girls are believing, wow, we have the vice president supporting us. And the parents also believe that, okay, he's supporting, so we should also support. So it's more like an opportunity to inspire and to continue advocating and to continue making people believe that we are doing something right.
Mm-hmm. And so, staying on that, like advocating, how many, of course, pandemic this year, but how many times a year do you go out into the community and I believe you do like community sensitizations? Like, how many times do you do that? Like, what's the general experience? Are people just like, wow, I didn't know, like, or was it like, I knew, but no? Like, what's the community feel?
It's always a nice thing, everybody who does it, I feel like they didn't know what, you feel even more inspired than the people you've gone to visit, and the members of the community, their faces are always priceless, and most of them, you don't know what you live in their heart. You change people's lives, they get hope. And the reason we are all still living in this world is because we hope for something. Otherwise, people have gone on to maybe kill themselves, do a lot of things. But we are still here because we have hope. And that's what we want to continue giving members in the community, that there is hope to do this. There is hope for you to get an education. There is hope for you to access sport. And that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. And so, in your opinion, what's a common misconception of women's football?
I think slowly by slowly the misconceptions are going away. but some people think women's footballers don't know how to play football. um, yeah, it's kind of funny because people believe it's a kind of men's sport and women are just coming into it, and I think that's the biggest thing, really. But there isn't much of it right now. But I think in Africa it does exist a lot. Maybe even in some few European countries or around the continents in the world. So I think it's our chance as players, as administrators, or journalists, or everybody else. It's all our responsibility to continue telling everybody that actually this sport is for everybody to play. And it's not just football, every sport, because it gives young girls opportunities to get a job, opportunities to stay healthy, opportunities to get friends around the world, and it's a good thing to get involved in this sport.
Mm-hmm. And even from your development cup, a few of the girls have gone to the national team, have gotten education opportunities. I mean, like that is really, like, when I found out, I was like, how come I didn't know about this before? But like, this is really amazing, and the level you do it on in Uganda especially. But also, you're also breaking into the rest of the world through like your positions as a consultant. And so when you got those calls, I think you already mentioned it before, when you got those calls to be a CAF member, do you just like turn off your phone and be like, wow, I'm really doing it? Like what's your general reaction?
I actually didn't get it through a call. I saw it on social media, which is very, very funny. Because I was flying from Uganda back to the UK then. So obviously when you're in the flight, your phones are turned off and everything is turned off. So as soon as you land, you're always like rushing to switch your phone on because probably you're ringing whoever is picking you up or you're trying to, catch up on everything. So as soon as I turned back my phone on, I saw on Twitter on the Federation of Ugandan page that, oh, congratulations. I'm like, what? Is this real? Like, yeah, it was. Oh, I'm like, yeah, I can't believe this is happening. So yeah, it was really, really amazing. And for me, it being women's football, I was like, wow, this is everything, because I've realized this is something that I really, really love. So yeah, it did really mean a lot. And I kind of like celebrated a lot on my own. But yeah, I think it was really happy time for me.
So is that one of like your greatest moments, or is there one that tops? Like if I say, Jean, what's your greatest achievement? What would you say?
I don't think I've achieved it yet. I'm still working towards it. I don't think I've achieved it yet, no.
No. Can you give us a hint of what that
I think for me, I want to one day have a platform where people could listen and believe that young girls and boys and everybody, there should be no prejudice. So I think for me, when I have that platform to be able to preach that everyone deserves that equal opportunity to play, and also seeing it happening in actions, because it's not about advocating all the time, but also seeing what you're advocating for come to life. When I see that happening in my country, in Africa, and around the world, that will be my dream come true. Yeah.
I mean, you've kind of already started, especially through your like YouTube channel. I mean, that's a platform right there. And you have like tons of videos, especially from like the one shot story project.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that you should definitely start there, because why not? And also, like, it does, like nowadays, platforms are like, you can open an account like this. Next thing you know, platform. But it's something that I guess you're already doing. But in general, actually, let me ask you a random question. A random question. So, Jean, I know you as Jean Sseninde, but when you were growing up, people may have known you as your nickname, Jean Foot.
Okay.
You may refer to yourself as Jean the Fixer. But based on a 1 minute video that I watched called Less Distinct, will we ever see Jean, the movie producer and director?
No. um, it's kind of funny that well, you're reminding me a lot of things. Sometimes I write things according to what I feel. Of course, I mean everything that I write. I hope one day I get to direct a movie or, well, a real movie that will be shown on like Netflix or Amazon or real TV. But I mean, even if I don't get that chance one day, I can always direct something and put it on YouTube or Twitter or something, because nowadays those are platforms that we can use. So, yeah, I think I just kind of like that. I feel like it's kind of cool. So, yeah, I hope that I do get to do it one day. It will be amazing.
And so we were talking about football. And now we're talking about directing movies. Like, obviously, football is your main passion. But what else do you like to do?
It's kind of funny. I'm now enjoying like administration. I'm saying like it's football administration, so it's still football. But one thing that I really love is photography, and I do love graphics and editing and movie making and all those things. I've learned a lot, especially making videos. Like, I kind of, well, one of my friends taught me the basics, so at least I can put a movie together. So I just need to continue learning on probably like the good editing or the effects or different things like that. So that's one good thing away from football that I know. And then photography, I do love. I literally have every kind of camera that every photographer would want, but I never really get to use them because I don't know how to take pictures. But I just love taking pictures of people, or it's more like a story that I just love to make. And then photoshopping or graphics, I was teaching myself on YouTube sometime when the lockdown started. So I'm kind of getting there. I'm not yet the perfect one so far. So yeah, I think it's kind of interesting.
And so I guess what you're learning right now is obviously the photography. You're doing a little bit of Photoshop. I think I even saw a graphic you made. It's like you're standing like this, some words. And so I was like, wow. Plus, like, keep that going because, like, really, when I look at you, I'm like, you literally can do anything. Especially especially anything you put your mind to. You like a lot of people say that, but you really live it. Whereby if you put your mind to it, you'll do it. And even recently, I believe you started a consultancy.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like you just have to believe in something, and I think like what you said there, you just have to put your mind to it. Even if I'm trying to learn the photography and the Photoshop and all the other things, sometimes I don't get time to sit there and do them because I'm so busy. So it will probably take me longer than I would wish to continue learning that. But I just have the interests of doing that. And in terms of the consultancy, I feel like I don't want to ever die when I haven't shared all my knowledge that I have. I just want to continue teaching people. I just want to continue giving everything that I have so that other people can benefit from it. So for me, the consultants is there for anybody who has questions or want me to help them in any side of anything regarding the women's game or football, to come to me, and I'm always there for anybody. So I think that was the main reason behind it.
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking right now. So if you had to describe like your love for football in like two categories, the playing side or the helping girls and women reach their potential through football, which one did you pick?
Tricky one.
If one had one.
Tricky one.
I've only picked one.
Before I answer that question, it's kind of funny because when reaching up to this stage, or even coming to the UK, it was always playing. But then, of course, traveling or mingling with different people, it gives you exposure, it gives you reality, it gives you what. So for me, traveling to the UK and seeing the style of play, it was kind of amazing. And I've seen that, oh wow, people are really good, technically good. And for me, not having not had the opportunities to learn that while I was young, it's not easy for me to get everything, or to compete with people who got all that when they were young or when they are grown up. So I feel like, yeah, I'm good, or I can play center back and can head and can do this. But I feel like maybe I would never be at the top level. That one day that I wish to be, maybe in the World Cup. Uganda has not been at the World Cup, and I feel like we have some long time, and probably then I'll be really old. So now, to answer your question, I feel like now I do prefer more the non-playing side of things, because then the opportunities that I haven't been able to get, other people can be able to get them better.
Mm-hmm. You said that Uganda is not in the world. I guess they're not playing the best right now. I believe because you're not there.
No.
Like,
It's really improved a lot, if I can say. I mean, women's football has improved a lot. It's been pushed all over there. And when I played with the national team back in 2016, things are different then from what they are now, because people are kind of pushing, But I think what I'm trying to say is that sometimes you also have to do the right thing to go to the next level. So maybe we are not yet in the World Cup at the moment, but we are pushing there. But I feel like maybe by the time we get there, I'll be probably retired or really old to play. So yeah, I feel like the youngsters are coming through and they are really good and they deserve those opportunities. And even a young girl in the village who still doesn't have that opportunity deserves to have that chance to one day play in the World Cup. And that's where my venture is mostly now.
And so when you were on the national team, what was your experience like?
It was really good. Every footballer wants to represent their country. So it was an amazing time for me to be able to play on the national team. And I enjoyed that moment. And yeah, yeah.
And so I think the reason why I asked, because you actually did a live maybe a couple of weeks back with I can't remember her name, OT, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were talking about your experience. Like, I think you guys played together for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, so it was, and I even heard about experiences even here in Nigeria, like even the women's team. But it seems to be across the board, like they need to put more effort into taking care of the women, because like you said, the men are maybe on could be in some fancy hotel, and then women are somewhere else. I'm like, what? What are you doing? And so, what's one thing maybe you could tell like general, like governments in general, like maybe to like open their eyes, like what message would you have for them?
Yeah, I think governments should treat every sport like a different sport. We don't compare women's football anymore to men's football, because women's football is a sport on its own. So the way they would support tennis, the way they would support squash, or the way they would support football for men, then there is also football for women in its own. And we need the resources, we need the support, we need the right treatment. So everybody should stop thinking, oh, men's football is this and women's football is this. I think it's more like, these are two different sports. How can we push both of them to be better?
So there are two, okay, because some people see them as, like you said, as one. But that's obviously a mistake or error on their end. And obviously, you obviously making the difference in that, from the foundation to the development cup. But I know with the foundation, especially this year, the pandemic has kind of slowed things down. Because I believe this was like your 5th year of running.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you had something big planned. I think the Big Five.
Yeah.
It was, and so what's is it just postponed into next year, or are you waiting maybe next month, or do you do something online?
It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one this year because we have another lockdown in the UK at the moment. So really, this year is a tricky one, and the health of everybody matters more than anything. So yeah, hopefully next year we can be able to hold it. It would be nice if we get to celebrate our big five years. So yeah, hopefully next year we can do that, and it will be nice.
And so I guess this year it probably would have. It's always a tournament, and I believe each one has like a theme, right?
Yeah.
Because I think one was our turn. I can't really remember the other ones, but things that what's the process of coming up with the themes? Do you have like a committee, a team? Does it come to you in a vision?
It's a vision. It's always a vision. I mean, it's we follow, but it's sometimes I just have to. It's more like you sit down and think what do you want to communicate to people now? Maybe when we selected our turn, it's everybody. It's your turn to play. It's your turn, and maybe when we had our first campaign as well, which it's time. It's time right now to play. So our campaign is more always communicating. So there are lots of things we could communicate, but we always choose a theme to cover it, and it's always a vision. It's always a vision.
And you said to cover it, because that reminds me, the media, right? What's the media's role in women's football?
They should always cover women's football. They should support the players. Even the one story you write and share it. Sometimes people can think, how can I support somebody? But just a simple retweet or a simple sharing the message with other people. Just writing a simple article and sharing it with everybody, even if you have a platform of 1 or 2 or 3, but the message travels from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and then it escalates like that. So it's always just doing the small things, and it's from the small things that we get the bigger things.
Mm-hmm. And for somebody that wants to get into women's football, where's like the first place they should go?
Do you know? Their heart. They should have passion, so it should come from their heart. And then, and I think from the heart, then you should have the courage to execute or to put what you're thinking about into action.
Because I'm imagining someone watching or listening to this and wondering, okay, wow, Jean is amazing. So how do I get into women's football? Maybe because I have a daughter that's interested in it. Like, okay, how does she play professionally? Do I go to a certain organization? Do I Google this? Do I go to this particular website? What would you say to them?
I think it's always good to do your research first of all, and find, okay, what area am I living in, and also think long term. Maybe if I get a team where I live, then it will last longer because transport won't be so expensive. Or do I have a vehicle? If I don't have a vehicle, what can I do to transport myself to where I want to go? So think of the bigger picture, but then also budget, or know how you manage your time. Or, okay, if I have studies in the morning, how will I fit in the football? Or who do I need to speak to? Because the more you speak to people, different people, you never know what anybody can do or how people can connect you to different people. So if you think of something, if you want to get involved in women's football, do your research on the internet. Nowadays, you can find a lot of things that can answer your questions. Even just a simple putting in Google, how can I start playing football? A lot of answers will come in the answer section. So once you know that you want to play, speak to people, do your research, know where you want to go, and then you know where to start after planning it out properly.
It's really all about planning, and thing is that you do a lot of planning from, I know, behind the scenes, from like I said, everything you do. But also, did you plan to be a finalist, 30 under 30 Forbes finalist last year? Because I believe you have to apply for it, or was it more of like, we see Jane, we have to give her this award?
Do you know what's funny? I didn't even apply that by myself. So that was a bit, it came like a shock to me. I just got like an email come through that, well, we've nominated you for this. And I was like, oh, wow. You know, so I didn't really know about it. And when the list came out, I had been named on there. So I think for me, like I said, such small victories, it first of all, I give the glory and honor back to the Lord. And then I thank my team, because that is our achievement as a team. And it's not just for the team, but it's for every young girl and boy out there who dreams of doing something that, okay, this is possible, so I can continue doing it. So it's all of our achievements.
Achievements. Now, talking about achievements, Jean, we have just completed one achievement. I want to say a very big thank you. Thank you for coming on today. It was I really enjoyed looking, especially your website. Like, there's a lot of more people need to go on there. And so from like, especially it's very personal in a way, more of like your feelings about how everything works, and like the inside, like behind, I don't know. Like, for example, there's Jean, then there's the Jean in the back. And then like reading your website, you really get to know you. And in a weird way, even before I spoke to you physically, I was like, I feel like I kind of know her. And so, and you should definitely keep it up, because that is definitely like very unique. Because a lot of people just have websites that just list what they do, but yours is really a blog. You're a blogger. That's one more thing that you're achieving at. And so, Jean, like, I already asked you, but between now and, let's say, end of the year, do you still have any plans, or it's more, or are you looking to 2021?
No, this year is still on. Big year, still big year. We still have a lot of things happening this year. On the 18th, I believe, 18th, I think that's after next week, on Wednesday, the Sseninde Foundation is going to hold a women's football story, more discussing, and we have a panel of speakers. We have Laura Georges from the General Secretary of the French Federation, Donald Rukari from Uganda, and also Onomi Ebi from Nigeria. So they're going to be our panelists, and hope they can share on how we can adapt to the changes that have been caused by COVID-19. So that is one big event. And then a lot of work with the Sudan Women's Football Federation. So yeah, they are still young, I should say.
Always busy, which makes sense. And I strive to be as busy as you. and so guys, if you're looking for someone truly inspiring to follow, and you want to learn about how Jean has used her passion for football to literally change the world, please check her out at her handle at Jean Sseninde. And of course, for more everyday stories with amazing guests like Jean, please, you can follow me here at Adetunde Dada. So, Jean, I want to say thank you once again. You are awesome. And I really want to say this, like, honestly and truly, you are like a living legend.
Oh, wow.
You might not think of that, but the stuff you've done is really inspiring, and not a lot of people have done half of the things you've done and you're going to continue to do. And so, Jean, like I said, you're awesome. And so, my name is Tune. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this episode. Jean, we'll talk more behind the scenes. But have a great, great day. I'm actually really happy that I spoke to you. Like, Jean, wow. Especially going through everything. And so have an awesome day. Have an awesome week. And guys, we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jean.
Can I say that? Thank you for doing nice research as well for this interview. Really nice. Thank you.
Awesome. I really enjoy that. Like, if you know how much research, you'd be like, wow. But yeah, we'll talk more after. All right, Jean, thank you so much. Bye.